owning a building, I mean, it allowed me the opportunity to retire earlier than I wanted. I really had to fight myself on that. But even let's say it was at the perfect timing. I would love for any other gym owner to show me a path to retirement other than this. Now, if you just say, I'm going to continue working, Stu, for 30 to 40 years, take most of my dollars, 20% of my income, give it to my financial planner, and he's going to put it into some index funds, and over close to 40 years, I should be able to retire on that. That probably would work. Good luck owning your gym for 40 years.
You're an inspiration to our entire organization.
Welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast. We're going to be talking the done-for-you marketing and sales strategies proven to work with boutique fitness gyms to increase quality lead flow and grow your revenue. Don't try to be a professional marketer and waste tons of money. Let the experts at Lasso do it for you. And now, here are your hosts, Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks.
All right, guys, today we are in studio with a lot of you guys going to know this guy, Stu. He needs no introduction. Today's going to be an exciting and fun episode, to say the least. So, Stu, man, welcome. Thanks for giving us your time. I know everyone's busy.
Hey, thank you, guys.
So, for some of you guys that may not know, Stu's been around the community forever. Like us, had the franchises, then moved on to do some other cool stuff, WTF podcast and all of that stuff, the business coaching. So we're going to dive into that today, guys. As you guys know, if you've ever heard Stu before, this is going to be a quote unquote lively conversation, to say the least. So I'm excited. So let's just jump right into it. Stu, first of all, for us, we've been working together for a little while. We crossed paths a little bit recently. With us running paid marketing for gyms, right? And we help some gyms have tremendous success and some gyms not so much, if we're being totally honest. But one thing that we hear often is, a lot of gym owners just say, man, I just need more leads, right? I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the quality. I just need more leads. And we know that couldn't be further from the truth. So when you hear that, or when you heard that when you were really dialing into the gym coaching piece of it, like what was sort of your response to that?
So I was fortunate. I came into the gym space, in the consulting space, in 2015. I was hands off of my own gym at that point, and I never took a call that wasn't paid for. I didn't do free calls. No. What I do on the gym real estate side, honestly, this is a huge shock to my system, because I take unpaid calls for the first time in my consulting career. Now, with that paid call, I got data. So you not only paid me for my time, because I was going to make it worth 10x what you paid, because you were going to give me significant data. And yes, I need more people through the door, aka leads is the buzzword. But I go ahead and, through the questions I ask in the intake form, I can go ahead and have someone, give me an average of the leads you get per month. And if a gym with under 250 members is getting 20 leads a month, and out of the 20, 8 become prospects. And just for everyone listening, operational definitions: lead is a digital name, email, and phone number. A prospect is someone who has completed the first sale. You already made one sale. So high five yourself. You got them to walk their ass on site. That's the number one sale you have to make first. They have to come on site. We're not an e-com company. We're not an Etsy shop. We're not selling this shit online. Very few gym owners are rocking and rolling, selling all their memberships e-com style. No, you got to come on site. You got to sell them. But that's the first one. But if I see 20 down to 8 prospects coming on site, and then out of the 8, we're closing 3, like, you don't have a lead problem, buddy. You have a lead nurture problem. Probably don't have a CRM. You're probably using your personal cell phone to text back and forth to people. You can't respond back to someone because you're coaching 2 classes in a row. And while you're fucking off coaching 2 classes in a row, the Orange Theory down the street responded in 3 goddamn minutes. And you're wondering why they're a member at Orange Theory now instead of your gym. It's not that hard to break it down. So I typically don't see leads is really the problem. That's what they believe. That the symptom is low cash flow. They believe the diagnosis is leads. Correct. Now, in the few cases that leads are, it's generally I go to organic first, right? I always want to fix everyone's organic first. Like, are we just getting our basic? Can you type into Instagram the messaging that organically, if you bumped into someone at Starbucks and they saw you wearing your hoodie with your brand on and they said, hey, that's really cool. What do you do? What's that business? Could you, out of your mouth hole in 7 words or less or one concise sentence, say what it is you do, who you help, and how you do it? And if not, well, you guys are, the best in the biz. You guys aren't even, if they can't concisely talk about what it is they do, it's going to be very hard for you to help them. So I start there with individuals organically, because if we don't even have basic organic down, we can't. Little things like fixing someone's GBL, their Google business listing, little things like that. Like Google lets you post offers on your GBL prominently right there in the middle, right underneath your operating hours for free. You get a link. You'll be able to track where, how many people click it, just little basic stuff like that. Can we check all the free boxes first? And then once I get someone to generate good enough organic, and I'm like, okay, I think we've hit our ceiling here. Go talk to the boys at Lasso. Now it's time to bring paid traffic buying in.
Yeah. And, for me, like hearing you say a couple of things, like one of them, that really stood out is that you talk about how some of these guys are, one, they don't have a CRM. Two, they're texting from their personal cell phone. Like it's small things like that. Stu, you would probably be shocked, or you probably wouldn't, about how many folks we get on the call, but we'll be like, hey, what are you using for a CRM? They'll be like, Zen Planner, Wi-Fi. I'm just like, oh man.
No, that's member management software, CRM, client relationship. And here's the deal: CRM software, I don't think it's that pricey. I really don't. But if someone's really price adverse to it, look into OpenPhone, look into Sideline. These are very affordable, very inexpensive options that also come with one thing most CRMs don't: the ability to duplicate your business phone line to multiple phone numbers. So like with OpenPhone and Sideline, let's say the 3 of us are all working at the gym. We all have Sideline download on our phone. As soon as a business call comes in, all 3 of our phones ring. Yeah. And let's say Blake is the AM manager, Sherman's the PM manager, and I'm the weekend manager. Well, we all have our different shifts for when we're responsible to answer that phone. So it's just an easy way to leverage that. I mean, I got a client I'm working with right now. They spit out crazy cash per month. They are extremely profitable. They're doing 6 figures a month, and they have a landline. I just like, how the fuck are we there? How are we at landline still? You and my grandma are the only people I know with a fucking landline right now. So there's a lot of just basic, I think, tech hacks there. And it's just silly, isn't it? In 2024, we look at some of the things that some of these other, some of us are doing in business, and we're like, how do you not think there's a better solution, that there's not a better solution for using your personal cell phone than, that's cost effective?
Man, I mean, it's so funny because I want to say 8 years ago, I've had my gym for about 12, but 8 years ago, I was like, I don't like these people calling my phone, right? Like I have a wife, young kids. I was like, no, we got to figure this out. And I figured this out 8 years ago, strictly out of necessity. So for me to be in 2024 and hearing guys still saying, oh, well, they call my phone, so I turn it down. I'm just like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah. I had people, people I'd meet out in the wild when I first started in the industry thought I was a drug dealer because I had 2 cell phones, right? And then I got smart, and I did like Sideline or OpenPhone.
Yeah, no, that's good. Sort of coming back to the CRM, because that's one of the things, people that have come to us, they'll be like, well, why wouldn't someone be successful? And it's 2 things. Well, really 1, but we could package it on the 2. Like they don't have a sales process and or a sales team. And I tell people time and time again, Stu, if you can't sell, because we hear it all the time, I don't want to be flying me. I don't want to be. I'm just like, listen, I really don't care about your personal feelings, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't learn how to sell, the people at Orange Theory and all those other franchises, they have a sales team lined up to take all your business. It's not necessarily that they're doing things that are that much better, but they are prepared to sell folks and get them in. And when they do, people like it.
Yeah, you have 2 options. You either create something so unique in the marketplace, like wildly unique. I don't mean your coaching community and program. I mean like you have some kind of USP, some kind of unique belief in fitness, or some way of delivering it that is so unique that you don't have to sell because nobody else can offer it, that's a unicorn. That's a one in a very few of us are having that. Or you're then going to have to learn to sell. And by sell, I mean help. And by help, I mean understand why they walked in your door. It wasn't logical. Fitness sales are not logical. They're emotional, right? Everyone knows if I sweat for an hour and I stop eating, I stop fuck-facing McFish sandwiches, I'm going to lose some weight and get in shape. But it's emotional. I was at the playground with my child and his young friend called me fat mommy, and I went home and cried for 2 hours. And then I decided that day when I passed by that gym that I pass by every day on my way to my kid's daycare, I said, fuck it, I'm going in there and signing up. That was an emotional decision, kids. And if you realize people are walking in emotionally, then you can understand how powerful, what an advantageous position that is. But I think a lot of gym owners who aren't quote unquote good at sales, they just don't realize they need to take advantage of this. And I mean, take advantage in a good way. Help a person in need, show them this is what we do. If you truly think it could help them, this is how much it costs. And that's just kind of how it is. But yeah, it's one of those things I think everyone's going to have. But you guys find like the owners are generally decent at sales because they just had to by necessity. If they're still around in 3 years, they apparently are decent enough at sales to stay in business. It's generally training staff and stuff like that where it gets
correct. I agree wholeheartedly. People always, man, how'd you get so good at sales? I'm just like, well, when I started this business, I quit my job. My wife quit her job, and we had 2 young kids. If I didn't learn how to sell, we didn't eat. So that sort of made it easy. And then, like you're saying, from there, I realized, okay, if I'm not going to be here all the time, I got to make sure these sales folks my coaches are good at sales. Like in my gym, it was never really an option where a coach says, I don't like selling. Selling is part of coaching. They don't come here to sell. You come here to help the business. So we got to figure this out. We have to figure it out. So, Blake, did you have a sales process as far as for your coaches and stuff to do some, or did you do all the sales when you owned the 2 gyms?
No, remember you trained my sales
stuff. Yeah, I forgot. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to drive back 30 minutes every day and wait for somebody to show up and then whatever. So yeah, I think that the biggest thing that a lot of gym owners get caught up in is like just thinking. A lot of the coaches have the misconception that like, oh, sales is slimy. And then when you change the perspective, like you're just helping them, and it's super simple. Just ask the right questions and usually they'll buy. Like the gyms that don't do well selling are like still talking about like the foundation of CrossFit. And you're like, these people don't care. Just tell them how you can lose it. And if they don't even care, like everybody says, like, I want to lose 20 pounds, right? But that's really not the real reason. It's why do you want to lose the 20 pounds? Oh, because I can't walk up the stairs and chase my kids up the stairs without losing my breath. And those are the reasons that they're actually going to buy. And I think the biggest thing that that we help things, and I know you do as well, Stu, is that like diving deeper into the real questions so that you can pull out that emotion, because that's what people buy on is emotion, like you said. And if you're not pulling that out, of course your sales are going to suck. I mean, it's really easy when it's organic, when Susie's best friend sells them when they walk in the door. But when you're doing paid traffic, it's totally different, because we get on so many calls that, like, oh, I'm great at sales. Like, you just get them in the door, I'll sign them up. And then like 3 weeks later, like, all right, I'm 0 for 5. Like, what am I doing wrong? And you're like, yeah, all right, we need to talk.
Yeah, the biggest thing for you guys too is you're gonna have an owner who is good at sales when it's organic. So before you pay for ads, the only way people come in is search engine, social media, referral, or physical location. Those are really the 4 origins of procurement. All those are warmish leads, right? Like nobody had to not trick them, but have to motivate them to come in with repeated advertising. Now we go to cold traffic, and these people are not as likely to purchase. They were scrolling looking for cat videos, and this ad kept popping up, and it just caught them at the right second on the right day where there was an emotional reaction and the lead was submitted, and then you did the right lead nurture and you got them in. But still, it's just a big enough game changer. So it's like I tell owners, like, if you're closing 60%, 70% warm organic, when we take you to paid cold traffic, you're going to have to I need you to accept you're going to suck more, because there's going to be higher volume. The numbers you're not going to sell at the same closing percentage. And you're going to find you're really not that good, because it's a lot harder to sell Sally, who's never heard of you prior to your ad, versus Sally, who's sisters with Megan, who's been a client for 4 years and talks about you nonstop.
Listen, I agree, Stu, like, before we move on, like, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And like, I tell people this at least weekly. I'm just like, hey, remember when we first turn these ads on, it is it is so different because think about it. This lead, they've never been to your business. Half of them haven't heard of it. They're like, I didn't know you were here. You'd be like, I've been here for 10 years. So they just heard about your business 2 days ago if they come in right off the ad. And now you're telling them, hey, I'm trying to get you to pay me $200, $300, $400, $500 a month. You better be good at sales, because if not, they're like, hey, I want to lose a little weight, but I don't know if it's worth $500 a month. And I don't think many gym owners really understand that when they first start working with us. So that's the reason we help these gym owners with their sales process and sales training too, because in the beginning we're like, hey, we just got to get them the leads, they're going to be fine, and then we realize real quick that now we got to give them a little bit more than that.
I'm not a very manly man in terms of being able to fix shit or build shit. You could give me all the fucking wood in the world, I can't make a fire. I don't have the second skill set, right? I can take sticks and put them in a fucking teepee looking shape, but I can't make fire happen. So it's like all the leads in the world won't do fuck if you can't sell. And so it's same kind of analogy, but 100%.
Yeah, no. So as we move past that, I think that, like you've been in the community long enough, building that big brand, urban movement and all of that. And then you sort of transition to the real estate piece. And that's what I'm most excited to talk about, because it's just a level that lets these gym owners, if you have your gym 15, 20 years, I know that's a long time, but if this is going to be a legacy thing, I feel like owning the business is sort of the right move, because if you decide to sell, yes, you may sell the business, but you still own the building. You can still collect money from these people, blah, blah, blah. So sort of tell us about the real estate piece. I'm excited to have it.
I'll give everyone the 20-second wrap up. So been in the industry since I was 15, went to college for exercise phys, found CrossFit in 06, worked in the consulting world in Globo gyms and health clubs for a while, but then I opened my own affiliate at the end of 2010. In 2000, we did very well, and I saved every dollar, and I bought commercial real estate in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2016. And I rebranded. I dropped my CrossFit affiliation. I created a new model, and knowing that the building was my 401k, right? That was my that was my retirement plan, and I figured that's gonna be a 10 or 15 year down the window thing. It was much faster than that. In 2021. My business partner and I in the real estate, he passed recently. I own it fully out right now, but we got an offer to lease the entire building, not buy it. Because when you finally get a chance to acquire really significant commercial real estate, you don't want to sell it that quickly, right? Hold it. Don't buy and sell, buy and hold. Anyway, I got an offer to lease the building that essentially put me at 4.5 times what my cost was, my mortgage and all that. And I could never, even in my best day with my best gym and my top level skills, make that amount of money pass. That it wouldn't be passive. So I sold out. I shut down the gym. I leased it out to a brewery on a pretty much 2 10-year terms. And now I play landlord. I still do my consulting. My consulting firm's been up since 2015. And then in 2021, when that whole thing happened, I realized, I always knew that was my retirement play. But I realized that could be a lot of gym owners' retirement plays. I don't think a lot of gym owners realize how much likely they are to get a loan to buy a building than a loan to get anything else post-COVID. Post-COVID, if most of us haven't been keeping score, we defaulted on the most amount of leases and we defaulted on the most amount of loans, the fitness industry, brick and mortar, service-based business. And because of that, I've got a client in California, for example, couldn't get a $200,000 loan to expand his location. Was able to get a $350,000 loan to go back to get his second PhD. They'll always give you a student loan. Always.
Don't get me started.
$1.8 million, though, they would give him for a building purchase. Why? Because he has a cash flowing asset that they put into the building. As long as he has what they call DSCR, debt service coverage ratio of 1.2, maybe 1.25, meaning for everyone listening at home, for every $100,000 you borrow, can you pay back for 1.2, $120,000 over the term? So if you have that kind of coverage, then they will give you the loan, because worst case scenario, you go bankrupt and they take the building back and the building appreciates each year. So I started the Gym Real Estate Company as an additional arm of my consulting firm, and now the Gym Real Estate Company's sole focus is to help gym owners lease and buy buildings.
Good.
So when somebody's thinking about purchasing a building, right, or like that's first in mind, what are some of the first steps? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are thinking about, all right, I'd love to buy my building, right, or buy a building that it can. And I know we have a client that's thinking about that in Wisconsin. But what are some first things that like they need to have in place or they need to be thinking about before they take those steps?
Yeah, I tell people you've got to be you've got to plan, you've got to be practical, you got to be patient. So planning meaning if you wake up today or you listen to this podcast, I want to buy a building. You haven't saved a dollar ever, right? You go to StubHub, you drop $5,000 going to watch the CrossFit Games every year, but you haven't managed to save any money. The banks, you're probably not what we call bankable. I work with the largest SBA lender in the country, primarily for when we work with clients, and the lender is very gracious in what they do, but they're still going to require a 10% down payment through one of their SBA loan products. They're going to require debt service coverage at DSCR, like I said, of maybe 1.2, maybe 1.25. And there's going to be just some other things they're going to need to see. Now, the nice thing when people are thinking about it, it's like, oh man, I haven't saved. A lot of my clients haven't. There are multiple very creative ways to create financing opportunities with investors. So to answer Blake's question, the first thing, you ideally want to be in a good financial position. You want to be profitable. You want to be able to show that you've got a solid business. Like for the SBA, they do a 3-year look back. So if you haven't been in business 3 years, don't bother with this route. Now you can go a traditional route, meaning just no SBA. Go through a regular bank, but you're probably paying 30 to 35% down, which instantly disqualifies most small business owners because they don't have that kind of cash. So you've got to have planned for this or thought it through. I've got guys that I'm working with now. They came to me. They're not ready yet. They're not bankable, but we put together a financial model for them for months 1 through 12, 13 through 24, 25 through 36. And that financial model, again, assuming everything it falls in the line, will have them at a profit level that I know, like the banks I work with, they're going to like what they see. Because you can't be one of these owners, and anyone listening to this is, this is my favorite. You guys are small business owners. We all have a personal debit card, right? But when we open our business, it's like, what's that? I don't even know what that is. I'm going to use my business debit card for everything. It's what I call red card, blue card syndrome. My Bank of America, blue one was the business, the red one was personal. I remember my first CPA I hired was like, you spent $9,000 at Tiber Creek, which is an Irish pub that I go to far too often. And back when I still go to far too often. And I filed it under clients and entertainment in my QuickBooks. He's like, bro, and you're wondering why the SBA denied you a line of credit of $10,000? Yeah. Like, you cannot you just pay yourself. If you're going to spend $10,000 at the bar, dude, pay yourself $10,000 and then go spend it at the bar. So it actually looks like a proper itemized deduct, like you're actually paying yourself. So there's like little things, like I'll get into people's P&Ls and I'll tell them you're bankable or you're not. Yeah. I know very well, very quickly at looking at the P&L, are you bankable? And then we'll set them up on plans to get them bankable. If they are bankable, then we go ahead and we start figuring out what are we looking for? What can we afford? And we do everything. So we step in front of a broker. Most people probably have worked with a commercial real estate broker. What we do, we offer a suite of services that brokers can't, but we can still offer everything a broker does. So I'm a licensed broker in the state of North Carolina, but I can do deals in every single state in the country. We can also do deals. I've got clients right now in Canada as well, because we come in not as a state licensed broker, but as a site suitability consultant. Our fees are paid for by the landlord or the seller. So our gym clients don't pay us as long as we end up, doing something with the building.
Got you. And what do you call that? Site suitability?
The site suitability consultant. I literally made it up. It's a completely bullshit term. I had to do it. I spent 18 months with a legal team here in Charlotte, trying to figure out how could I go into other states and perform non-brokerage brokerage. Because if anyone doesn't know, if anyone has a real estate license, every state has different laws and everything, and they do not let people from one state come in and practice it in the other. I was so disenchanted with commercial real estate brokers. I had several. I always found my own building. I always did the majority of the negotiation. My brokers were making money off me. Now, granted, I didn't pay for any of it because the client never pays the broker, just like my clients don't end up paying me. Their landlord or the seller does. But my broker never did shit for me. And after he got his commission check, I never heard from him again. Whereas, so what we do is we not only create site suitability reports, so we make sure that we're matching it up based on the demographic. It's not just, ooh, this is by a Whole Foods and you can afford it, you're good. Like, we make sure the right demographics are there. We print you out psychographics of that area. How do they vote? What schools do they go? I mean, I've got access to cool software that seems almost illegal to have, that we're able to pull very intimate details of the people that go in and out of buildings and live in certain areas. We do financial performance. We do operational capacity. When you get in commercial real estate, especially today's prices, I've got gyms that pay $35 a square foot. Well, that means that a certain layout, I can generate $98 a square foot in profit. But in another layout, I can only make 52. And the gym owner doesn't think about that when they're setting up and they're all having their dream sketch of what their facility is going to look like. So we do OPCAP, operational capacity, showing them the inefficiencies or lack thereof of the square footage as it relates to revenue, profit, class flow, and experience, all that stuff. And then finally, if somebody signs a lease for 7 years or more, or they purchase a building with us, we stick around for 6 months and complimentary, completely free for business consulting on the back end.
Oh, okay. I like that. I love that. I think, more gyms, more gym owners, especially the ones that plan on making this a profession, right? If you're just owning the gym for 3 to 5, you're going to get out, that's fine. But if you're really looking at the gym being your profession and, having it 10 plus years, I think owning the building is the way to go. So anyone listening to this, reach out to Stu so he can help you guys with this. Because again, this is one of those things that it will save you mental dollars and headaches if you do it the right way up front. Because I've known some people really get messed up dealing with real estate because they were trying to cut corners, and then they cut some corners all right, but then when something went wrong, I sort of equate it to like a doctor delivering a baby. Like, delivering a baby isn't difficult until something goes wrong, and then
we work hand in hand with Matt Becker, who's a phenomenal lawyer. He owns Gym Lawyers. And so the majority of our clients are lease-based, right? My goal is by the time I retire, in 10 years, I'd love to say the majority of my clients are buying buildings, right? That's my goal for gym owners. If I was able to do it, I tell people I'm not that smart or talented. There's probably gym owners out there listening to this that are far more smarter and talented than I am. But if I can do it, they can. You just have to have someone who knows their shit.
Yeah.
And because it's, you don't know what you don't know, and you're too busy running the gym and figuring out marketing and sales and all that stuff. But owning a building, I mean, it allowed me the opportunity to retire earlier than I wanted. I really had to fight myself on that. But even let's say it was at the perfect timing, I would love for any other gym owner to show me a path to retirement other than this. Now, if you just say, I'm going to continue working, Stu, for 30 to 40 years, take most of my dollars, 20% of my income, give it to my financial planner, and he's going to put it into some index funds, and over close to 40 years, I should be able to retire on that. That probably would work.
Yeah.
Good luck owning your gym for 40 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a lot of classes, coach.
So no one has yet been able to, and I speak at this at conferences and stuff, no one's yet been able to provide me a retirement play other than buying the building, other than creating a replication model and having to scale a franchise to triple digits to get to a place where you can then retire.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this is a great conversation, great topic, because, I really do believe, like, I'm in it. Like, I've owned my gym, and then we started Lasso. But like, I look at my gym, and my gym has been profitable for a long, long time. But, just like you're saying, depending solely on the gym to send your kids to college and retire you, that's going to be a tough one for most, right? It's going to be a tough one.
It is. And it's such a world that, like, you got to be in it to understand the angles. So, like, right now, like, if I were to ask you guys, just like as laymen, just business guys, like, what's a business model that's brick and mortar now, large enough for a gym, standalone building, so there's no noise issues, plenty of parking, prominent corner lots primarily, but the business model of these particular businesses is on their way out. And the answer is pharmacies. We all know what Amazon just did 2 years ago, buying that one company. I mean, pharmacies are you're not going to go to the fucking pharmacy anymore. I don't even get my groceries anymore. Like, again, these models are changing over the next 10 years. Drive-through banks are another one, but I've gotten quotes on what it costs to remove a vault, and it's not fucking worth it.
Dude, you know what? I've gone to a couple places. Not exactly. It's funny you say that. I didn't know that, but it's funny you say that because I've gone to a couple places that are like old banks. They've transformed them into cool spots, but the vaults are still there.
Still there. No, A, because it's fucking cool. B, because it costs way too much to remove it. Way too much. But no, so I've got the real estate advisors at Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. And they said, so I have exclusive listings or exclusive access to listings of theirs that are what we call dark, meaning the buildings are vacant. Those companies still have corporate guarantees, so they're still paying rent every month, but they shut them down. And they're looking for people to buy them, but they have very limited reuse. I mean, we're seeing like some hardware stores go in. You're seeing some like PetSmart dog food stuff. But for gym owners, standalone buildings, built-in parking lots on prominent corners, it's ideal. And I mean, we're working on an article on this right now. The average sales price of one of these is under $3 million. I mean, so like, but it's stuff like that. Like a gym owner would be like, oh, I couldn't find anything on LoopNet. I'm like, yeah, I know, motherfucker, because you don't know what to look for. But yeah, there's options out there for gym owners.
Yeah, good. No, man. So for me, like you and I, we knew each other years through sort of the affiliate owners. I sort of sat back, watch you raise some sand. You sort of sat back, watch me raise some sand, and then we sort of connected just here and there. But then recently, we've been having more interactions because you reached out because you're like, hey man, all of your clients that are working with you guys and working with me, they're crushing it. So like, what are you guys doing? You guys seem to be different. So you're like, what have you seen? Like, what have you seen from the gyms that we're working with specifically that work with you?
Well, I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of gyms momentarily put on an agency. Oh my God, they killed it for me, blah, 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 blah. I'll see that same gym owner 2 years from now talking at game for another agency, right? I always look to the quality of the jockey, not the horse. So for you guys, I don't exactly, like for a lot of the clients if I'm working with them, I know the results. Correct. But I have even more people in my ecosystem that I have of the highest regard for that are clients of yours and work with you guys intimately that I consider incredibly smart operators. Jeff Bennick being one of those individuals. Friendship Fitness and what he's done in Columbus, and I regard him and Graham as incredible operators. Yeah. And he has been a huge advocate, obviously, and working with you guys even in a beyond capacity, which I know Jeff, and I know he doesn't do things just for a buck. Yeah. He truly has to believe in it, be interested in it. So I look at guys like Amy Moeller. I mean, like you guys have worked with people who I consider like, I think it's one thing, like there are some people out there, and I've poked at certain groups, mentorship groups that I think will take you from dog shit to good. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's why I think every micro gym listening to this in CrossFit really likes an Orange Theory being nearby, right? It's going to take fat female and 40 and put them right in the fucking pipeline to go and convert to CrossFit at a certain enough degree. And so but I do look at the operators, the people who use services, and that's where I really gauge my level of interest and whether I'm intrigued by that service or not. So you guys, the operators you work with are not dumb. You couldn't pull the wool over their eyes if you wanted to. Yeah. And obviously the results speak for themselves, making you guys good at your craft. But I took special notice at who was working with you and what I thought of their decision making and all that, and that to me spoke volumes.
Yeah. No, I think that that's one of the things we figured out, which is like when Blake and I first started, we were like, we're just going to help everyone, right? Like we're here for the community, right? Sure. But then we figured out that like many of these gym owners, like they don't necessarily need to work with us at the time. And that's the reason like we do the free call up front, because like we want to know like, hey, is this person a good fit? Because we have the capacity to just break a lot of stuff particularly a gym owner, if we turn it on and then they get too many leads and they freak out and then it just breaks their system. So because again, everyone thinks like, oh, I want more. But there are also, on the flip side, there are also some owners more than I like to admit that won't work with us because they've been burnt by whatever in the past, And Blake and I, we just started this strictly to help people. Like, I didn't know how much the gym market had been targeted and, for lack of a better term, sort of scammed for years because in the beginning, people were just like, hold on, like, I want to talk to you, but like, what makes you different than insert whatever company? And I was just like, wow,
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had been targeted like that.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good segue question for you, Stu, because there's other mentor services, and I don't know how much mentoring you do, and I know the gym real estate thing is super cool because nobody else is doing it. And, we've kind of taken notice that you do things different than the other guys. So what would you say differentiates you from, the other companies? Because we've seen, everything that I consume of your stuff, I'm like, I agree 100%. And it's different. Like, I watched your probably 30-minute video on retention one day.
Okay. I'm trying to get fired. So I'm not trying to create a business. I tell people my goal is I want you to hire me. Let me come in and solve the problem, and I want you to fire my ass as soon as possible. I'm not trying to create reliant business owners on my mentorship program or my mastermind. I want to come in. I want you to present me with a problem. The more complicated the problem, the happier I am. Okay. And then once I solve that problem, I want you to fire me, and I want you to go about autonomously kicking ass as an owner. The next time you encounter a problem you can't solve, you know who to call. The one thing I do is I work with my owners is I don't spoon feed. So again, this isn't shade. I just had John Franklin from Two Brain on, but Two Brain is a business. They are going to hand you a template that every other owner is going to get. And then if you get through that template in a period of time, they will then ask you to be a mentor. So it is a model designed to scale. If I get hit by, I'm going to go get beers with my fiance in a little bit. If I get hit by a fucking truck tonight, guys, it's done. It's over with. Why? Because it's just me. I only take on a certain amount of clients. I only take on a certain amount of projects. I love Gregory House. You ever watch House, that show back on Fox back in the day? He was good enough. He only got to take on certain cases, and that's it. So people are able to book an initial call with me. They pay for the time, and I make sure they leave there with 10x the value. And if it's a good fit for both of us, it's a project I'm interested in taking on. And I've had everything from, I need a new comp plan. I'm about to get a regional manager for my second location. I need to expand in my first location. I get a lot of concepts, meaning I've written this down on the back of a napkin. My father-in-law is going to give me $500,000. I need you to validate. I do concept validation, and then I'll take them from back of the napkin to grand opening, right? Whatever long that takes. So I just solve different problems. I'm a problem solver, and then you fire me because I believe my proof is, like, when people ask for a referral, I'm like, here's the last 20 people that fired me. And they're like, why'd they fire you? I'm like, because I did my fucking job. Yeah. That's the point. And how many people have a lawyer on retainer? Yeah. Right? Like, if you have a lawyer on retainer month over month over month, you're in some shit. You're like Justin Bieber back before he rebranded himself. Like, you're getting in fucking trouble. You only have a lawyer when you need shit. Like, that's what people like. I go to my lawyer. He charges me a lot, but he gets the fucking job done. And then I don't go back to him until I need him. That's me. Yeah. And so that's what I think differentiates my service, is that I'm not I don't keep people in my thing. And I fire clients who I'm like, you realize we don't have any more problems to solve. I think you just like talking to me. Like, this is becoming like, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, bro, I'm kicking you out. Go on, prosper. Another problem, come back. I got your back.
Yeah. No, I love that. I personally think, I was just having this conversation with someone online today. I personally think that we as entrepreneurs, small business owners, we need to know what is our end goal, right? Like, if you want to scale and grow like Two Brain and be a part of a system like that, like, that's fine. But I think most really want to be sort of similar to you, where, hey, I'm solving this problem. This is what I do. I get paid well for it. And then when I stop doing it, like, that'll just be it. Like, it's not going to be this thing that's going to live 100 years down the road, because I don't think everyone's wired for that. I don't think everyone can really build stuff to be that way. And I think it caused a lot of stress,
Yeah. The book that changed my life, guys, was like, I built the gym. That was a business. My real estate's a business. But this book, Company One by Paul Jarvis, changed the way I thought of running WTF Gym in my consulting. And the idea isn't having a company of one person, but essentially creating yourself the highest paying job that a higher paying job than any company could ever economically, mathematically pay you. Doing that yourself, but having the autonomy and the ability to mic drop it. My kid gets sick. My mom gets sick. I want to move. I just want to stop what I'm doing. I could stop on a dime. Nobody owes me anything. Everything. I don't do contracts with my clients. Everything is month to month. They can leave. No 30-day notice required. I can fire them. No 30-day. Whatever. It's designed to run extremely high profit margin, extremely impactful to a small amount of people, instead of moderately kind of impactful to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that I just fell in love with that idea. And I had him on the podcast. It was his last podcast he ever went on publicly. I don't know if he's done anything since, but that book, for anyone who's looking to start a side hustle or their own company, I'd at least put that in your repertoire of what you read to think about another way. Because I think everyone thinks I got to scale to this big business.
Correct.
You can make a lot of money and you can have a lot of impact in a very meaningful way without doing that. And the last thing I'll say to that is, when I'm working with someone, I don't spoon feed them answers. So I'll have people ask me for templates. I don't have templates.
Yeah.
I have versions that we're going to look at and then we're going to customize to yours. But someone's like, do you have a handbook template? Motherfucker, how would I have a handbook template for your business? I don't know your, what, this handbook template that I made with a yoga studio is going to work for you and you want to look at it? No. And if that's the case, we don't work together. I refer them to TwoBrain or refer them to Affiliate University. Yeah. They've got plenty of pretty PDF templates for you. I'm looking for people who want to walk away from that. And the number one thing I check when we do a survey is, do you feel your business IQ is higher after working with Stu than previously? And the answer is yes. And then it's why. He did not feed me the answers to the problems. He worked with me to make sure I knew how to solve these problems in the future. And I didn't have to keep coming back to the well every time. And that's the whole point, the goal of what I set out to do.
Yeah, man, I love that. Listen, we could talk about this all day, and we're definitely going to have you on again. But before we get off, tell me this. Where can people find you if they don't know?
Yeah. Just, go into the Google machine. You can put in WTF Gym Talk. That's the main media handle for all my stuff. And then specifically, if you're interested in the gym real estate stuff, if you're looking to lease or buy a building and want to chat, pop on and we get on a 30-minute call. It doesn't cost you anything. And that's just gymrealestate.co.
Perfect. So, guys, I hope you've gained a ton of insight and knowledge from this episode. He's told you guys how to get in contact with him. If you need to get in contact with us, you guys know how to do that. As always, tell a friend to tune into the next episode so we can keep crushing it and helping people get to the next level, guys. All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast with Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks. We hope you enjoyed. We believe marketing should increase revenue and not waste money. So book your free call today. Head on over to lassoframework.com. That's lassoframework.com and find the right words, get more customers, and increase your revenue. We'll see you here next time.